Audio right there. There we go. Okay. We need, how are we looking camera-wise? We need to see that shot. Which way do we want to go? Well, let's see if we can just, hello, just a second. We're working on this. Goodness gracious, excuse me. All right, that'll work. And then maybe just a little less, a little more headroom. There we go. And I'm going to have to scoot that way because you don't need to see down the hall. All right, here we go. Look, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. Yes, this show is going to be trouble. It's going to be trouble. So, Jason, yes, no, turn off your phone. Potential spam. Oh boy, I'm going to jump right out and answer that one. I thought I had this thing on buzz. Anyway, all right, so here's the deal. Actually, yeah, we can do it now. Here's the deal. Last week, we were trying to show how easy it was to use the X1. Pulled it right out of the box, didn't do anything other than pull it out of the box, plug it in, and let's play with it. Don't read the instructions. You know the deal. And long story short, on last week, no, let me tell you the whole story. So couldn't get it to work, Tried after the show, couldn't get it to work. Got on tech support calls with Bird Dog and exchanged emails with Bird Dog. That's what it was. Exchanged emails with Bird Dog. Try this, try that, try the other. No joy. So I said to myself, let's take this home and try it out on my home Wi-Fi. Maybe something's wrong with my Wi-Fi. Maybe I'm an idiot. Who knows? Oh, and also would love a sound check from you guys because I turned up the gain on this guy, and I'm wondering maybe if it's a little too high. It looks like I'm peaking a little bit when I get excited. And you know me. So I take it home, put it on the home Wi-Fi. I've set up a call with Bird Dog. So I'm chatting with them, and we're going through the settings, and boom, it works. Oh, different story. It didn't work. It wouldn't work. What's the story? All right, so I've got the camera there. I've got my Wi-Fi on. I've got my laptop on, and I'm attached to the Wi-Fi by laptop. And I'm trying to set up the camera to attach by Wi-Fi. And I've also run a cable through the closet in the bedroom to get to the router so that I've got it hardwired to the camera so that I can make the changes. And it's not working. And I thought, okay, what I really need to do is I need to put the camera on its own network separate from the wireless network so that I can set it up. And so I plugged the camera directly into my laptop and did some configuration so that they would talk to each other, and then set the camera up with a Wi-Fi address, and it worked. It was great. And then I brought it here, and I'm back to the same problem, I thought, and then I found out that I'm such an idiot. That this is my Wi-Fi password. And you see that bottom line where it says 5QZS? Well, apparently that Z is a 2. So I've been using the wrong password last week. But using the correct password, I'm still having issues. And I think the issue is that I'm trying to set the camera up on the same network as the PC. Even though it's wireless, it still has the same, it's still the same network, 192.168.1. So working through that. Audio seems a little garbled. Good, Dave, thank you. That's helpful. Let's see if we can turn it down a little bit here. Rec reset. Check 1, 2. There we go. How about that? So, note to self. Don't mess with it. Thank goodness it was just pre-show. Okay, so let's close all this other stuff. So, yeah, Dave, that's what I get. Waiting just a little bit longer, I hope, but not too much. So, back to the question. Yes, no, maybe, not sure, still working on it. But I think that at least the for sure way that I've got right now is hook the camera up to a different network than the network I'm working on. But there's got to be something else. There's got to be a way to hook the camera to the same network on Ethernet and on Wi-Fi, because yeah. Anyway, that's on me. That's on me. The more powerful technology gets, it seems like perhaps the less intuitive it is, and the more I need to actually read directions. So yeah. So if somebody could give me a sound check here and let me know if this is any better. I turned the gain down. This is the Hollyland, what is it? The Lark Max. Yeah, the Hollyland Lark Max. And I got this as a trial for NAB to have a mic that I could plug into my phone, and it seemed to work pretty well. And then I tested it a couple of weeks ago, well, 3 or 4 weeks ago, compared to my Audio Technica want to make sure that wasn't on. My Audio Technica 897, AT897, and it sounds better. All right, Dave says better, but sounds like needs to come down a little more. Okay. Are we getting distortion, Dave, or is it just too loud? That's the question, really, at this point. Check 1, 2, 3. Not getting into the reds. Check 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Talking, and just a little distortion. Okay, so I've got too much to gain. Let me try again here and see if I can do this without screwing it up. Always a challenge for me. Record mode, mic settings, let's go there. Mic gain, let's go there. Mic 1, let's go there. Let's bring that down to just 1. Okay, check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Looks like we've still got microphone through this process this time. I must have accidentally disconnected it from Wi-Fi. That's probably just what it was. You know, the USB ports are not locking ports. So yeah. So thank you, Dave. Is this any better? Let's see. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. We're looking for, you know, good full audio, but not what would you say? Not bad audio. Not distorted audio is really what it is. Okay. All right, so let's see. Let's turn this full screen on. We got that. We need to do one other thing. Where is the browser? We want to refresh that. Okay, and bear with me one sec. Trying to get number 5 should be full screen. Not number 6. There we go. All right, there we go. Now I can see your comments, see myself, and see the time all at the same time, and appear to be looking at the camera. So the one other interesting note with the X1, this is the BirdDog X1, the wireless camera. Oh, I need to add that to my setup. I think I've got it available. Let's see, do I have it available as an NDI cam? BirdDog, there it is, right there. Okay, so let's bring that in. I think that's coming in over the network. Let's see, PTZ control, connected. Oh, we'll connect. All right, whoops, wrong way. Here we go. Zoom out, nope, zoom in. Yep. Hang on one sec here. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, good. That's a good little picture. Oh, well, I already had it. Well, that's why it was running slow. Yeah, this is the shot from the X1 right now. And this is the streaming computer for the show. Hello, Gunnar. Welcome. Glad to have you. Yeah. So, let's see. We're about out of time. So let's start the show. This is going to be a fun show. This is going to be a fun show. I haven't even talked to you about it. But that's okay, because we can handle that. So let's see, is this button going to work? Let's try it. Oh, wrong button. Let's try this one.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Streaming Alchemy. I'm John Mahoney. And on today's show, we're going to take a little bit of a detour and look at some hardware related projects. And in this case, I'm going to show you how you can use a multi-port NIC card in your PC to directly connect NDI sources without the need for an external switch. But before we get...
How about that? Oops. Where are we here? Let's try again. There we go. There we go. Technology. What can I say? Technology. Yeah. All right. Dave says we're getting an echo. Gemini. Oh, that was probably the music playing. Dave, I'll keep an eye out for it. Welcome, streaming idiots. Not streaming alchemy. Although we are shamelessly stealing from streaming alchemy today. John Mahoney, great guy. If you've never watched the streaming alchemy show, you've missed out. You need to go look. It's on YouTube. Streaming alchemy, ALCHEMY. Yes, yes. John is brilliant. He's brilliant, and he's a great teacher. And what he taught was not grammar. What he taught last week on Friday, his show's on Friday afternoon, so it's a great time to cut your day early and go watch John, was how to use a 4-port NIC card as a capture card for NDI cameras. Now, it's not going to work for any other camera other than a camera that can do NDI. Doesn't matter whether it's NDI HX, HX2, HX3, or full NDI. The process is the same. And so what they're using is the StarTech ST4000 PEX PSE, which is a 4-port. Let me see if I get it all right without looking at the box. A 4-port PCIe card that provides power over Ethernet up to like 48 volts. And yeah. Oh, and it's Gigabit. So yeah, there it is. All right there. So it's a cool little card. I've got one installed on my PC, or I'd be holding it in my hand. And let's see if I can bring up a picture of that. Here we go. There it is, right there. Right there. That's it. That kind of orange card is it. And you see it's got a blue NIC, a blue Ethernet cable, and an orange Ethernet cable plugged in on the left side, right jaw. Yep. And then all the way over on the far side, can't really reach it, is a power cord like you would use for a hard disk drive or a DVD drive, something like that, so that it's got ample power. If it appears to be a little skewed, that's because my motherboard has a M.2 solid state drive location right under that space, and this particular card has a hook on the end of it. I don't know if you can see in the picture here. See the little hook right there that's supposed to hook and lock in, but it doesn't require an X16 slot. I think I've just got it in an X8 or maybe an X4 slot. But essentially what the card does is it allows us to have 4 ports or 4 individual networks. Let me see if I can get a good zoom going on here for you guys. Yeah, there we go. Here's another shot of the card. So we can hook 1 camera per network. The beauty of this, of course, is that it's Gigabit. Each one of those 4 is Gigabit. And so that's 4 individual Gigabit channels. Each one of the channels is PoE. And so this would be a great way. This would be a great way for a portable setup that you don't have to set up a network for. You can plug into the house net or whatever your internet connection is, but you brought your network with you. You've got 4 ports that are your own network. So there's no switch you have to run. The only thing you have to run is that Ethernet cable between the camera and the PC. And it's going to power the camera. It's going to take the video from the camera. And it's going to let you control the camera. And again, this is NDI only. This is not going to work. I guess it would work with like a security cam or some other cam that's going to do streaming, and that you could get the stream from that camera too. But NDI is the easiest way to make it work, and it's going to give you the best quality and the lowest latency. And we have it set up today, or partially set up, and then we're going to try to set up some more of it. So let me check and see where we are here. All right, we're looking good. So I have behind me, let's see if I can get a camera on that camera. Can I get a camera on that camera, folks? Let's see, let's go and zoom out here. There we go. And we'll go in, whoops, in there, and then up a little bit. See, I've got lights everywhere, and the lights get in the way, kind of. And then the host gets in the way too. So let me get out of the way here. So I've got a bird dog just over my right shoulder, and you can see the blue cable, whoops, right back here. And that's the same blue cable that is plugging into this guy, and that is port number 4. The ports are numbered, of course, sequentially from top to bottom. So the top port is port number 1, the bottom port is port number 4. I've got something hooked up on port number 3, but it's not working because I did it wrong. And in John's video, there is a great way of showing how to get this configured. So I'm not going to retrace those steps, except to say that each of the 4 ports is set up as its own network. And it does require a little piece of helper software to allow each of those 4 ports to set an address, as if they were a router, which I guess they are. So let's see, which one is that one right there? Yeah, so the bird dog, this camera right here, is coming in NDI to port number 4 on this card, as if it were going into a switch, except it's not a switch, it's its own network. Of course, the beauty again is you don't have to set up a network. I mean, your network is already preset. The cameras have a fixed IP address. The card has its own addresses in there. All you have to do is plug and play. I think this is going to be a great solution for, again, the whole basis is you've got to use NDI cameras. But this is going to be a great solution for folks that are looking to upgrade their system and upgrade their cameras at the same time and go all NDI. And it's going to simplify that process. This is going to be great for folks that have got portable systems, thinking like the little lunchbox we sell, and the switchblades and the other ones like that are portable. You can put this card in there and configure it, and you've got up to 4. I guess you could do 2 cards. I might get a second card and try it. But you've definitely got up to 4 NDI connections, as big and as fast as you want to go. Will it handle 4K? I don't know. I'll have to try that. At this point, I do have a 4K, full NDI 4K camera here I could try. But it's only 4K 30. It's not 4K 60. So we would want to try, kind of that max. The PTZ Optics camera that we're using right here, the Move 4K, is 4K 60, but it's NDI-HX, so it's not pushing a full big ball of data down the network. Okay, so let's, can I show you? Yes, I can show you Let me reconfigure one of these cameras real quickly here. And in fact, I'll show it to you as I'm configuring it so you can get the feel for what we're doing here. Actually, that's not the camera. That's the camera. So let's take, and this is the camera that's actually plugged into the blue port. And let's take that around a little bit. See if we can do it without getting into some lights. And you get to see my studio, or at least the ceiling of my studio. There we go there. That's what we're looking for right there. Okay, so you notice that camera pointing down. That's PTZ Optics, one of those little box cams. And that's for a down shot on my workbench over there. And then you notice, of course, at the very top, who can tell me what that is at the very top? Do you know? Is the card crooked or is it just me? The card is crooked, Ed. Yeah, the card is crooked. The card has a little hook at the bottom to hook into the motherboard. But in this particular motherboard, I'm not using an X16 slot. I'm using an X4 slot. And so they've mounted an M.2 solid state drive right behind this PCIe slot. So yeah. All right, so has anybody got an idea of what that device is on the ceiling? If you look at it upside down, what does it say? It says idiots. Yes, indeed. Let's see if we can zoom in on it just a little bit more. Oh, Michael, very good. Michael, very good. Let's see if we can zoom right in right there. Yes, that is a Bird Dog Studio mounted on the ceiling that is taking an SDI feed from the camera. You can see that thin SDI cable going over to the camera. The red feed coming out of the studio is coming back to the network, the StarTech card, and the blue one is simply providing power over Ethernet to the camera. There we go. So there we go. So the job is, that's right, Jeremy, it is an NDI encoder. In fact, it's the very first one that I ever knew of. This is not an original to me. I had to buy it off of eBay because I sold all the ones I had. But what we want to do is we want to take that camera on the ceiling and connect it to our network. And I'm going to show you how we can do it. Jeremy, glad, this is fun. This is fun stuff. This is playing in the dirt fun stuff. We're going to get all dirty. So what we need to do, let's see, can we get, we need to reposition a camera. Hold on. If I'd have thought about this stuff in advance, it would have been so much easier. Let's go a little bit further. Oh, we got to go down some. There we go. Now we're talking. And let's move this microphone out of the way for the moment. All right, so this shot right here shows us where we are. The blue cable is going to the Bird Dog P120. The orange cable is going to the Bird Dog Studio. And what I need to do is I need to connect the studio back to my local area network so that I can go into the studio and give it a different IP address so that it'll work on this device over here. Let me show you real quickly, if I can. Let's go to 4. I don't want to diagnose. Just do what I want. Read my mind and tell me what I want. All right, we got a screen capture here. Can we redo it? Display 2. display 3, display 1. Try one more time. Display 1, display 2, display 3. Oh, this is good. How about that? No. Windows Explorer, Google Chrome, application frame host. We're getting closer. There we go. All right. So we've got 5 different network ports, it appears. We've got the network on the bottom is my main network. Looks like 3 and 4 are calling themselves unidentified. And let's see if that's 4. It may have lost its, well, it can't have lost its settings because I'm still getting data from the camera. So let's go here. Can we go here? Is that going to show? That's not going to show. So let's go back to the, let's see if we can do it that way. Still waiting. Come on, guys. Display 2? No. Display 1? No. Well, let's do it the old-fashioned way. Sorry about this. But I just have to show you what I'm seeing here. Can we do it like that? No. Can we do it like that? Bear with me here. I'm slow on the uptake. Huh. Let's see something else here. Stay with me. Stay with me. Don't go away. Add input, desktop capture, local desktop capture. It just doesn't want to capture this monitor. Oh, as soon as I say that, there it is. Okay. All right, so we have got the main. That's going from the PC to the switch, and from the switch to the router. 1 and 2 are unplugged because they're unplugged. 4 is the bird dog camera, and 3 is the one that we want to work with. But before we do that, we need to take this orange cable here and plug it back into the switch so that we can reconfigure that guy. So let's do that quickly, easily, painlessly, without trouble, and all that other stuff. Okay, so that's plugged into the switch. And let's see if we can now, let's go to this shot so you can see what I'm doing here. And let's see if we can bring that NDI source. Oh, it should already be in here somewhere. Cameras? No. Oh, I bet I took it out so that I could put it back in. Let's just check. NDI sources. It's not appearing yet. Well, let's try something else. Let's try a studio monitor. Sometimes this NDI stuff is a little bit like black magic. So let's bring in NDI monitor. And what we're looking for is that one right there. All right, that's the down shot. So let's go into the settings for that guy. And we'll put in the secret password, which is bird dog, lowercase. And we want to give it a different IP address. So before we do that, let's go back to this screen for just a second. And let's find out what number 3 is, what its address is. All right, so it's 10.0.30. So let's go in, and we'll go back to this one here. Did you get to see that? Try that again. There we go. Let's try that again. So I just double-click that one. I'm going to double-click that one, and I've assigned that card port number 3. I've assigned it 10.0.30.1. And the 30, of course, refers to port number 3. All right, so let's go back over here, and we will bring up the Google Chrome window. There we go, right there. And let's just max this out for a second. And we're going to go to network. And it currently has an address of 192.168.1.82, but we want to give it a static address that assigns it to that 10.0.30. So let's go ahead and put in 10.0.30. Let's just call it 30. Let's see if that'll work. 10.0.30.1, and we'll apply it. And of course, once we apply it, we don't have any ability to do anything else with this screen. And now we need to plug it back in. So let's disconnect it from the switch and plug it into number 3. There we go. And that should begin to power that device up. Let's see, right there. Oops, a little too far. Sorry about that. So that guy is firing back up. And we'll know, whoops, you can't see that, can you? Sorry about that. There you go. Pay no attention to the rain drip marks in the light next to it. And now we should be on board. Now we have a new address. So let's pop up can we pop up this one? And then pop up this one. Yeah, there we go. All right. So let's see if we are still on this address. Nope, we're not there yet. So let's go back to another cam just temporarily. And we'll give that one a chance to connect. And now it's going to connect. And it's going to connect on 10.0.30.30. So now we've got access to that camera based on that address. We'll get that out of the way. And we can add an input, NDI input. And there is our 30.30. We'll pop it in there. It's not a PTZ camera, but if it was, we could connect it. Let's call it a Visca over IP and see if we can do anything here. Can we connect to it? Nope, not going to connect. And in fact, that particular camera doesn't have any ability to zoom remotely. So nothing really there. But that camera now is coming to us over channel number 3, which is the orange channel right there. and the camera over my shoulder that is giving you this shot, the camera that's giving you that shot is on port 4, and the camera that's giving you this shot is on port 3, and they are ports that are plugged in here. All right, and so, yeah. And let's reposition this camera. And again, this is a camera that we're looking at. Oh, let me show you what I'm doing while I'm doing it. So I'm going to go into this camera right here, which is the BirdDog P120, but is connected to port 4. And we're just going to take that guy and reposition him. That's the shot that I see when I'm doing the show. What I want to do is just put it back on the card. Not because the card's going to do anything, but it is the card that we're talking about. There we go. A little bit more zoom here. Maybe a little upper. There we go. All right. So ports 3 and 4 are now active cameras. Port 4 is 10.0.40.1. That is the port's address. Port number 3, the orange one, is 10.0.30.1. That means it's, dot 1 means it's the router. And the cameras are given addresses based on that same those same two networks, network 3 and network 4. So I've made it look far more complicated than it really is, but it's going to be a great solution. Now the card is about $300, and you could probably, I think you could probably set up a 4-port switch and network for about the same, maybe less. It'd have to be a PoE switch for the 3 cameras or the 4 cameras. So it'd have to be a 5-port switch if you're going to plug your PC into it. And you might also be plugging your internet access into it. So now it's a 6-port switch. So you're going to use an 8-port switch just in case. 8-port switch is an 8-port switch is not going to cost you $300. I mean, just a little unmanaged PoE switch like the Netgear that I'm using, I think was, maybe $200. But the advantage is not a cost savings. There's not a cost savings in this. It's going to be more expensive to do it so far as gear is concerned. But it's one less piece of gear because the card, the 4-port card, is built into the PC now, taking up one of your PCIe slots, X4 or better, not X1. Jeremy is asking, can we do NDI bridge? Maybe. I think I'd like to play with that first. I am not an NDI bridge guy. I am a tinkerer. And the things that I know very well. And the things that I don't know badly. So, yeah, there we go. So let's see. Here we are. This is the StarTech 4-port PCIe Gigabit Ethernet PoE network card. Each of the 4 ports is PoE up to 48 volts, I think. The card itself is plugged into a hard disk power supply, power source right over there. Yep. So it's got power to power to share and power to spare. The fact that it's a little tilted, don't let that bother you. I need to cut that little hook off the bottom. The card's about $300 on Amazon. You might be able to get it less expensively through StarTech or something else like that. There is a link, an Amazon affiliate link in the YouTube description. So if you want to get it there and help out this process, of course, we'd always love that. And I've actually got a client I need to make a phone call to this afternoon after the show and talk with it, because we've been talking about, setting up a network at his church for his NDI cameras, but, he doesn't do networks, and the church's IT guy, is somebody's best friend in another state. And this might be a great solution for them. We can pre-configure all the ports here and then remotely connect his cameras to it. He'll have to physically change the wiring around in order to do that, but I think it becomes a pretty easy installation, and I think pretty rock solid. We'll see. We'll test it some more. So that's the show for today. Hang around. We'll do post show, and see if you've got any questions. And again, hat tip to John Mahoney at Streaming Alchemy. Comes on Fridays, I think at 3:00 Eastern. StreamingAlchemy.com, maybe. Yeah, should be. Anyway, just Google Streaming Alchemy, you'll find it, or do a YouTube search. Go back and look at some of his stuff. He's done some great videos. And I don't want to steal any of his thunder, so I'll let you discover them and find them on your own. So, yeah, let's go to post show. Be right back. All right, here we go. So many changes in the studio. Trying to get everything, set and straight and not crooked. Changing microphones, changing cameras, setting up new cameras and microphones, and a new X Keys keyboard. It's the XBE 96, and I'm in the process of getting it switched over from my former great keyboard, the XK80, and I've stolen buttons. But yeah, so Ed, yes, the card is crooked. The card is crooked, of course. Of course it's crooked. I mean, what would you expect from me? And Michael is the first one to get it right. He got it right, and not only did he get it right, but he got the name right. Jeremy got the concept, but he couldn't remember what they called. I mean, that was like 1,000 years ago in computer years. Computer years like dog years, sort of technology years, are kind of like dog years. 1 year of you and me is 7 years of tech time. Yep. Yeah, I have used this card in the past. I don't think I used the 4-port version of it, though. I think I used well, maybe I did use a 4-port version. I'm trying to remember why. And there's a card that's similar to this card, Jeremy, that is not 4 individual NICs, or how would you say it? 4 individual networks. Yeah, I mean, because each port is essentially its own network. There are 4-port network cards out there, but all 4 ports are the same network. So that's not helpful. In this case, we want each network to be its own, because we want the gigabit. We want the full gigabit available to us, so that we've got the ability to run, 4K 60, I think. That's what we're going to see. The PoE can deliver, Michael, 48 volts per NIC. 48 per NIC. Let me make sure I got that right. I think that's the way I read it. Perhaps I read it online somewhere, but let's just double check here. I love this. The system requirements here are PCI Express computer system with an available PCIe Express slot. Well, what kind of slot? Yeah. Oh, one other thing, if you're using this card about the driver, Windows was able to install a driver for this card immediately, which was really cool. The only downside was, of course, with Windows is that it was an older driver. So the instruction manual that comes with it that I actually read after I installed the card, of course, it gave me a link to go get the drivers, but when I extracted the files, some of the files didn't want to extract because they said the path was too long. Never run into that problem before. Maybe it was a Windows 8 or Windows 7 issue that kind of got ported over. But I did the driver and it worked just fine. Yeah, I don't see a reference in here to the power. Let's check on the box. StarTech's boxes are typically not very detailed. And it does not reference the amount of power. But you can Google it. All right. UTV, welcome. Says 25.5 per port. Okay. Okay, then I am wrong. I don't know where I got the 45, but I'll go back and double check. How much do you need to power most cameras? The PTZ Optics Move 4K cams require PoE plus, which I think is, what is that, 18 volts, something like that? I'm confusing volts and watts now. Sorry about that. Let me look up the card so I've got this right. So let's go StarTech. ST4000 PEXPSE. Okay. We're both right. 42 volts, 25.5 watts. So let's see what PoE is. PoE plus power. All right. And PoE is 15.4 watts. PoE plus is 30 watts. So, this is 25.5 watts. Well, we'll have to check it with some of these PoE plus cameras and see if they're working. I know it's working with the Studio. I don't know what the requirement is. I know it's working with the BirdDog P120. Let's see what the P120 power requirement is. BirdDog P120 power requirements. Okay, the BirdDog P120. Oh, this is an AI overview. The P120 can be powered over PoE. According to B&H, the device has a power consumption of 11.1 to 15.2 watts. 12 volts. Interesting. Well, let's look at the PTZ Optics Move 4K power requirements. AI is not helpful there. According to PTC Optics, the Move 4K requires 12 volts PoE plus. 18 watts max. So it'll work. Even though, yeah, we'll see. We'll do trial and error. You know, it's one of those things. You've got specs, and people that don't know about something, like me, I'll go to the spec sheet to see what the specs are. And then there's the real world where you know, things don't always work the way the specs say they work. I think sometimes the PR guys have some input into what the specs say, but we'll test this one with the biggest, baddest, most power-hungry camera we have and see just how good or how bad it can be. Yep. Yeah, that's an interesting point, Michael. I don't know that it's power consumption. I think it's just power availability. 48 volts, 25 watts, 25 and a half watts per port. Not to say that you would take it all. Yeah. Thank you for agreeing with me. I love that. One of the main reasons I was pricing a Netgear AV opposed to PCIe was power. Ah, the M4250 is 30 watts per port. Yeah, but what do you need? In real life, what do you need? Do you need 30? Or do you need, 18 or 24? We'll see. We'll see. Great question, Ed. Would this card fit in a luggable? I don't see why not. I've got one over there. It's in pieces right now. The length of the card is not a problem. The height of the card, I don't think would be a problem. The motherboard would have to have an available X4 slot. Let me just double check on the X4. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I mean, we've got a picture of the card right there. That's not an X1 slot. And it doesn't say in the book what it does. It would, yeah. I don't see why not. In fact, that's kind of my plan, is to create a prototype on this that would be a portable 4-port NDI camera box thingy that would be, quick and dirty. You pop down the PC, you plug it into power, you plug whatever your local internet source is into the motherboard NIC, and you plug your 4 cameras into this guy and Ethernet cable, and you're ready to go. Somebody steps on a cable and breaks it, and it's just Ethernet. I think so. I think it would. And depending on what your other needs were, of course. Yeah, but I think it would. I think it would. Hello, Gene. Good to see you. Glad you're back. We missed you. All right, Michaels. The M4250 has a max across the ports of 100 watts, so you have to be careful if you have 9 consumers connected. Yes. Sure. Oh, it's a total of 100 watts between all ports. How many ports on that? 10, 16, 8? Or does it matter? I mean, I guess there could be different possibilities. Yeah. So 8 ports, 10 ports. Well, either 8 or 10. Let's say worst case scenario, it's 10 ports. That's 10 watts per port. 8 ports would be, 12.7 watts per port. 7.5, 7.25, something like that. So yeah, you'd have to be careful. I think that's the distinguishing feature. I mean, you can cart around all sorts of gear. You can cart around that M4250 if you want. I'm just thinking, for people that don't want to cart a bunch of stuff, that people don't want one more point of failure. Somebody unplugs the network switch accidentally. Those things happen. Those things happen. Sooner or later, those things happen. I can remember back in the bad old days when we were live streaming soccer. This was 2008, 2009. And we were doing it on a computer that was connected to a Verizon MiFi card. So we were doing it on a cellular network. And one of the teenagers that was working with us decided that he needed to plug his phone into power. And so he disconnected the power from the MiFi device and plugged it into his phone so that his phone would continue to have power and he could continue to have text messages. When the whole thing went down and we're like, oh, we don't have a stream anymore. What happened? It took us a few minutes to figure it out. And there was I don't know if the young child was sufficiently embarrassed. He was like, "Oh, my bad. Oh yeah, you're bad. You're right. You're bad. Holy cow. Goodness gracious. Oh goodness." Now, Michael, the watts over there must be more than the watts over here. That's a lot of watts to a power supply. Holy cow. Oh, okay. All right. We got it. Hey, Jeff. Well, glad you did. Not sure how much of it you saw, but you can always run it back and watch it again. In fact, if you ever watch the vMix Fun Time live show, even if you join it late and you missed the pre-show, if you're watching on YouTube and it's still live, you can use that DVR feature and just kind of drag the live stream button all the way back, and you can get the pre-show. In fact, I did this last week. The show came on right during supper, which is fine, no problems. Glad to have it, love it. But Sandy said, do we have to watch Heath and Tim during supper? I mean, you talk about them all the time anyway. Do we have to actually watch them? And I said, no. We can pause the video. We can actually go back to the pre-show and leave it there, finish our dinner, clean up, do whatever we want. Then we can watch the pre-show, the show, and the post-show. And even though they delete that video or make it private, I'm not sure how they do it. And at some point, they'll make it unavailable for you and me, the live feed, and they'll upload just the show to the internet. So there's a tremendous value, I think, in watching it live, because you get to be able to be part of the process, of course, and ask questions pre-show and post-show and comment. But if you want to be able to see the pre-show and post-show, you can't participate, but you can just pause the thing and drag it back and do it. So yeah, it's been cool. So Dave says, it's been a month and a half since NAB. Where's my free stuff? Well, Dave, you have learned one of my, what do you call it? It's not a silver bullet. It's it's just a fault. I'm a procrastinator. But soon, and very soon. All right, Jeff says, trust me, I will, and yes, about the vMix lives too. Yes, good. Well, tremendous discussion. Thank you very much. And love to have you guys hanging out today. Hopefully this is of use to you. And those of you that are watching us after the fact, if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll be sure and try to answer them. If you're watching live, or even if you're not watching live, let's make this video more available to people that might be interested in it. I'm going to change the comment, or what do you call it, the keywords for this in YouTube. But if you would give me a like just right now, it would increase the visibility of this. And if you're not a subscriber, we'd love to have you subscribe too. But the like will help other people find this, because YouTube will say, hey, people like this. Other people might like it too, and we can get some more advertising stuff. So, yeah. But no Patreon, no joining, no throwing money. We're not going to do any of that stuff. We're just going to be just regular folk that get a like every now and then. So, all right, Michael got it. Jeff got it. Oh, there's Michael's. Yeah, I agree, Ed. I agree. I think comments are really the thing that YouTube likes. But what can I say? Yeah, and Jeff, that's interesting. I'm not sure if this time is a great time for a lot of folks. Obviously, it's been an effort sometime for you to get here, and I appreciate that. But most of the people, of course, are folks that watch after the fact. But and people have asked me, why do you do it live? Why don't you just record it and upload it later? And it's not the same. The reason that it's not the same is that I really do like being a part of the process with you. Your questions are well, except for Michael's. We don't know about him. Your questions are tremendously helpful. Keep me on track. You think of things, of course, that I haven't thought of. You correct me. You reprimand me. You let me know about my audio. All those things I wouldn't happen if you weren't there. And so, yeah, that's the thing. Dr. Tom Eagle is in the house. Dr. Eagle is a longtime client and friend, and does the live streaming for his church. up there in Missouri, I believe. Tom, is that right? And yes, you are late. In fact, you've missed the whole show, Thomas. But there is an idea that we've been working with that you might be interested in, if not now, for the later, because I know that you've been struggling a little bit with the network. At Tom's church, he actually takes his streaming machine between two buildings for like an early service and a late service. One in the traditional sanctuary and one in a more of a fellowship hall worship space. And so, Tom, we may want to talk about this particular device that I'm using. You need to watch the show first. And in fact, you need to watch John Mahoney's show on streaming Alchemy, which is where I stole this idea from, shamelessly. So yeah, absolutely. Hello, Robbie. The interaction that you like live is better, Tom. Absolutely. It's so much more fun live. And I watch a lot of YouTube. I do. I watch a lot of YouTube, and probably 99% of what I watched is recorded and not live because, I wasn't available when it was live. But I do enjoy it. And I learn from it, and I appreciate it. But there's nothing like live. Yeah, and some things I think are invaluable live, or are so much more pleasurable live, like sporting events. If my team is playing, one of the teams that I support, I watch the whole game. But if I missed the game, I might go back and watch the whole game. But once I know the score, I'm not as interested in watching the whole game as I was before I knew the score. I might watch the clips, the highlights. But yeah, so live has its place. Yep. You did watch John's show. Okay, good. Well, that's what we're talking about. Talking about a PC with a 4-port NIC card in it, Thomas. Not that big of a deal. Aziz says, green screen never worked good with vMix, especially the women's hair is just pain even with studio light. Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at the news shows, regardless of where you are, they're using green screen. And you notice nobody has frizzy hair. Everybody has hair that is plastered down tight because those strays create all sorts of problems. But having said that, I did green screens here for years. And once I got the lighting right, you got to light the screen separately. You got to light the individual. And you got to do a halo light, a top light, a backlight. I've got a little bit of backlight on me, but not much. I probably would benefit by that. Something hanging from the ceiling or tall behind me. But I loved my green screen stuff. The reason I don't do it now is because, everybody wants to see the junk behind you, I guess. Ed watches me at 1.5. I used to get a lot of complaints. I think they've all gone away and given up by now. That I just take so long to get to the subject and I talk so slowly. Oh my gosh. Well, we have a fix for that. You can go through. In fact, when I was watching the vMix Fun Time Live show last week or the week before, and again, I was drawing the timer back so that I could watch the beginning of it, but I really wanted to catch up. So I had it at 1.5 or 1.75 maybe even. And Tim and Heath they're a lot of fun at 1.75. All right, Tom says, I don't see how you would use the setup with a PTZ controller when the PTZs are on separate NICs. Good point, Thomas. Good point. I don't think it would work. I don't think it would work. I'll think about it, but I think it would add, if it did work, it would add a level of complexity that would make troubleshooting far more difficult. Yep. Yep. Agreed. Agreed. There's nothing like light, and there's nothing like somebody that knows light. Maybe. The lighting in here, when I set up the studio part over there for the green screen, I found some 5500K lighting that was intended for garages and workshops. It was a work light. And it got a phone around here and it's buzzing. But I can't find it. It'll have to keep buzzing until I locate. Oh, here it is. Make sure it's not somebody important. It is, but they'll have to wait. Let me send them a quick message. The 50, I think it's 5,000 or 5,500K lighting was $35 for 2 4-foot tubes. That's a lot of light. And these, the lights here are inexpensive. They're just on stands. Some of them are newer, some of them are something else. But yeah, I get it. If you're going to do full-blown studio lighting, you're going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. Well, there you go. It's just a matter of getting it all set. Yep, getting it all set. All right, Michael says, some Elgato key light MK.2 is fantastic to use as studio lighting on a budget. I always liked those ring lights. But back when I was a glasses wearer, I couldn't use a ring light because it, would reflect off the glasses. Now, if you look closely into my eyes, you can see this light right here, because that's the little white part in my eyeball that's just, it's just off to the side, and that's the light. And if you look in the white of my eye right here, you can see my side light, but it's not nearly as evident or as offensive, I think, as the reflection off glasses. Oh gosh. And for folks that are follically challenged, that is, they don't have a lot of hair. I have a good friend that doesn't have a lot of hair there, and and I said, sometimes we have to put a touch of makeup on our nose, and sometimes we have to put a touch of makeup on our forehead and backward. So he went to the makeup store. He was the only guy in there, and he didn't have any hair, so he was buying makeup. Des, I'm talking about you. Yeah. Yep, that's good. That's fun stuff. That's fun technology. Yes. Could I please elaborate a bit on Blackmagic Decklink 8K and what settings you have? I am not using Blackmagic 8K. All of my cameras are NDI here. I have set up some systems with the Blackmagic Decklink 8K, but they were all 1080p systems. And we use the 8K just as a, I don't know why we use I guess we use the 8K for future capability because they may want to do 4K in the future. And so didn't do anything specific in the settings other than to go into the, what's the routine called in Blackmagic? It's called the desktop video setup. and made sure that the connectors were not bundled together, but that they were separate. You have to do that on initial setup. As for that, that's the deepest setting I got into. Sorry, no help there. Well, guys, gotta run. Gotta go back and fix some stuff. Get it ready to go. But I appreciate you. And I'll see you next week. Not sure what we're doing next week. We may be shipping X keys or something. Maybe we'll have another go at these bird dog cameras. We got to get them rolling. Yeah. So appreciate you, and we will see you next time. So we have a way of gracefully exiting here. I think we do.